Measuring the length to his mouth. That could have sounded better. Stephen Waguespack from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry is here. Had a little, hung out with you a little bit last night at the Doty Horton Feet. Welcome back. Welcome back to KEEL.
Glad to be here, and it was a great time last night. That was an awesome event.
Did y'all go out drinking together after?
No,
I suspected that happened.
He's already said, he's already said off the air, Stephen has, and we can give a little background if we are so inclined. He said, I'm the one that said the newly redesigned Louisiana state flag, I said the nest looks like French fries.
Yeah.
And I say that to everybody that comes in, and invariably they all say, you've ruined the flag for me.
Yeah, you have.
We need to go back. You just said that.
Well, yeah, you've ruined the flag, but more importantly, you might have ruined this interview. When I look at you right now, the flag is hanging behind you, so I'm trying to think about whatever you're asking. All I can think of is how fast can I get out of here and go get some French fries? And that is tough.
Tots. We'll do an all-call for tater tots. Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, specifically you, the president and CEO. You were here last night for the Doty Horton get-together. And we talked a little bit off and on and off the air before. The Trump economy for America is blowing up. In fact, what is the new, I guess they just released this morning, the unemployment rate, 3.7%. Is that the low? Is the Trump economy pulling Louisiana along? Are we taking full advantage of that which is going on around us? Are we able to compete? I know it's a long question. And if not, why not?
Yeah, it is roaring. The national economy is roaring. And it's pretty simple, economics on what it is. They came in and they cut taxes and they repealed a lot of burdensome regulations. They put the market back to work. They let the economy start working. And what happened? Boom. Investment started. Growth happened. It's all across the country. So, yeah, you're seeing record levels of growth across the country. And it's literally, if we have another year or so of this, you're talking about a run that starts to look like those early 2000s, late 90s runs, which is impressive. In Louisiana, we're experiencing some of that. Now, we are getting pulled along, I do believe. I think there are things we are doing here that don't make it easy enough to benefit from that national economy. We got to fix that stuff. But look, the national economy is so darn good that it's almost, despite some of the things we're doing, we're going to benefit from it, which is a good thing. I'm all for that.
$300 million surplus is now what they're saying we have now in Baton Rouge. Is that a direct result of the economy? Or is that mismanagement? Nobody knew what they were doing when they were doing the budget figures. Combination of the two.
Well, it's a couple things. First of all, throughout the several sessions, if you were paying attention, I know y'all look at this closely, there was a lot of people saying, and I was one of them, that what are the real numbers? No one trusts the numbers. What are these taxes going to raise? What are we really bringing in? How much do you really need to provide affordable health care and fund LSU football and all that stuff? What are the real numbers? And no one quite believed the numbers that were out there. And I would say right now it shows that there was some fuzzy math in some of that. So that's part of it. Mm-hmm. The other part of it is 2 years ago when we came in, everyone remembers that the legislature and the governor went in and raised that temporary penny for two and a half years ago. Everyone remembers that. What they also forget is they also went and targeted some exemptions and credits that dealt with business and individuals alike there. Well, for the next 2 years, and you have those exemptions and credits that have been pulled back, and everyone's got them in their pocket, it doesn't show up for a year or two because it doesn't show up on the returns. This year it starts to show up. So the other taxes that passed 2.5 years ago, we're starting to see that now come in the state coffers. That's the second leg of the stool. The third leg is construction. That we are building chemical manufacturing facilities, yes, in Louisiana, but big time in Texas. The Louisiana industrial contractor community is the best in the world. They get recruited all over. They're building a lot of that stuff. So our contractors are building a ton of stuff. Some here, a lot in Texas. That has created income increases on that. So those three things are the biggest piece of driving that $300 million.
Mm-hmm. When you talked about the Trump economy versus the Louisiana economy, and you look across the South, when you see Texas, and I think it's Mississippi and Georgia, and maybe Arkansas, I don't remember. But most of the states across the South over the last year have cut taxes and reduced regulation. That's not exactly what's happened in Louisiana. How much more difficult does that make it for us to compete?
It's a headwind, no doubt. It's a challenge. And look, we talk to the companies every day that are saying, all right, look, because of the federal laws, we now have money to spend. Because of technology evolution and energy, we can find gas at a cheap rate. We're ready to build these facilities. And we're looking at Louisiana, Texas. When we look at Texas, no personal income tax, no corporate income tax, a lot of less political shenanigans, I'll say like that, a better legal climate, a easier to find workforce. That's what Texas has, along with all the ports and pipelines and all that stuff that we have. when they come here, they want to give us a fair shake, but we've got a much tougher tax code. Our regulatory environment is much trickier. You got to kiss more rings here. The workforce is more of a challenge. And so, look, some of that investment is going to spill over here just by, the barrel not being big enough, but that's not good enough. This is a growth era in chemical and traditional manufacturing. We should be gobbling up market share right now to make sure that we go on a 30, 40, 50-year run. Right now, we're getting table scraps, and we're celebrating those table scraps. I'm all for that, but I want the real meal.
We have a mayoral race going on in our community, as you're well aware, I'm sure. What would you tell those candidates who want to be mayor of Shreveport on what they should be doing to bring in those businesses that you talk about? How should they go about doing that?
At a mayor level, what I would say is too many mayors in the state that I talk to feel like, the school system's not my job. Go talk to the school board. I would say there's no more important issue in any city in Louisiana than your local school system. And I would sit down and figure out how we do a better job of training kids to read and write and stay off drugs and have good soft skills. Those 4 things, every company I talk to, whether you're a manufacturer or white collar, they want those 4 things. Even good schools can up their game on those fronts. And so if I were mayor, I would say my number 1 job is to make sure we do whatever it takes to provide a better school system, because A, it'll help the workforce you're looking for, and B, it'll force families to move back into your area. Every family I know wants to go find a good school. That's going to grow your population in a healthy, organic way. Tricks and exemptions and credits and all that stuff, those are Band-Aids that are kind of your worst case scenario. You got to get the basics right, and it all starts with education. That's what I would say.
Stephen Waguespack, he is president and CEO of the Louisiana Association. Sorry, I was smelling French fries. Of Business and Industry. More is on the way, 19 past 8 o'clock. KEEL traffic coming up right now.